Welcome back to Girl Crush Country, where we are obsessed with women in country music. I'm Jess Wright in Nashville, Tennessee, and this week's guest comes from California, but is making all the noise in Nashville. Welcome, Sheyna G.
Howdy, thanks for having me.
Yeah, the G is for gangster. Is that
That's
right?
me, yes.
How was CMA Fest? Did you participate?
CMA Fest was amazing. I always have a great time. It is the most wonderful, chaotic week of the year in Nashville, for sure.
For sure. I honestly stay away from downtown.
Fair.
I can't do it anymore. But it wasn't as hot this year as some years.
I've said this year we had the best winter we've had. We just had the 1 week of the ice storm. Other than that, it was a mild winter. CMA Fest was the first year it didn't downpour at least a whole day.
And a tornado?
Yes. I'm like, what is happening in Nashville? If the weather was always like this, I wouldn't bitch about the weather so much.
Right. But you're from SoCal, right? So the humidity here is what gets you.
It absolutely does. I'm a cliche. I will never get used to the weather.
Listen, I am from a place that doesn't have this much humidity either. Summer used to be my favorite, and now I just feel like it's disrespectful.
Yeah, you can't go outside. You can't go outside in the winter because it's cold. You can't go outside in the summer because it's hot.
Yeah. You are all about being outdoors when you're not working. Right?
I am. I'm such an outdoor girly. I just love nature. And I think if people appreciated this earth more, people would be a little happier.
Yeah, I agree. I saw that you like to find new waterfalls.
I do.
Where is your favorite one that you've found so far?
My favorite waterfall so far is Spirit Falls. It is on the Washington-Oregon border on the Columbia River, and it is stunning. And then special shout out to the fjords in Norway.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's fancy.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to the ones up in upstate New York?
I have not.
Okay. Add to your list Taganek Falls.
Taganek?
Yep.
Okay.
It's spelled not like that at all.
We'll have to get a note of that after the show.
Yep. I will.
Yes.
I will write it down for
Yes.
you. And Buttermilk Falls.
First of all, that's the cutest waterfall name ever.
Right. They're both in my hometown of Ithaca, New York.
Okay, yeah. I have not explored upstate New York whatsoever, and I've heard it is absolutely stunning.
It's beautiful, especially if you can go, in the summer because it doesn't get that hot, but in late September, as long as it doesn't snow, because that can happen there.
I've hiked in the snow, though, and I honestly think it is stunning. I went to Sedona in February when there's snow on the red rocks, and that was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Have you gotten to play Red Rocks yet? Wasn't that one of your goals?
That is one of my goals. I have not yet.
Okay.
So Red Rocks, if you're listening.
And you've been here in Nashville for 10 years?
10 years.
Wow.
It is. I blinked and it became 10 years.
What made you decide to pull the trigger and come on over here?
I had always wanted to move to Nashville, and I always kind of had excuses, or I would be about to move and then a deal would come through in LA and I'd be like, I'm just going to stay for one more year. And one day I was at dinner at my mom's house and my brother was like, why haven't you moved yet? I was like, because I have $300 in my bank account. He's like, if I loaned you $1,000 right now, would you move next week? And I was like, yeah, okay. And he was like, all right, do it. So he did.
Wow.
And I moved to Nashville. I paid him back that $1,000 in a year. And I've been here ever since, but I would not have been able to make it without that little loan from my brother.
But you were doing okay with country music in California,
I was
right?
doing great. It's just at the time I was a 20-something, playing gigs, driving all over Southern California, barely making enough to make ends meet. So Nashville's so different in the way that everything is contained to one area. And where I live in Nashville is so small compared to driving all over Southern California.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we've got the traffic, but I don't know if it compares.
It does. I mean, it compares. It's just there's a shorter distance to go.
Yeah.
So it's never going to be quite as bad.
Well, once you got here, how did you get that ball rolling and start making those connections? I ask everybody this because I'm just fascinated that you can move to a town where you don't know anybody and then suddenly you're part of this community.
I immediately started pounding the pavement downtown. I didn't know anybody, like you said, and I did it the old-fashioned way and went to the audition day at Tootsie's. And the way that works, I try to tell everybody that wants to move here and get started, it's an easy way to make money. And if you treat it like a job and not like a career, you don't get as sucked in. And it's a great way to learn how to put on a show. It is a great way to practice for 4 hours a day, and it's a great way to make rent. And you just go down there, play the songs people want to hear. Who cares? You can make them your own. You can do your own thing. And people are like, you can't play originals. I play my originals down there all the time. And you just have to make it part of the show. Mm-hmm. And if you treat it like that, and it won't suck the soul out of you, even though it does to a lot of people, but you have to treat it the way as a tool and not as the end goal.
Yeah. It's like you have to play covers because the people don't know your music yet, but you don't have to play only covers.
Well, once you've played if I play a dope-ass version of Piece of My Heart by Janis Joplin followed by Sweet Child of Mine, then they'll listen to my original song because like, if this girl is doing that, like, let's hear what you got to offer. And there's no better place in the world where you're going to have 1,000 people go through that 4 hours from all over the country. And then when you go play their small town in Minnesota, they're going to bring their 10 friends, and the next time they'll bring 20 friends. And it's a cool way to tour without having to tour.
Mm-hmm. I love that. If I'm not mistaken, until not too long ago, you were doing everything yourself: management, PR, social media, all of the things.
I'm still doing things mostly by myself. The only thing I do have is PR, and that's because I get a pretty good deal on it. And I don't have a manager. I don't have a booking agent. I design every single one of my covers. I write all the songs. My last EP was fully self-written and self-produced. And I do everything. I'm a one-man shop.
Is it exhausting?
Absolutely. It is. They always joke, like, when you work for yourself, instead of working 9 to 5, you work 24/7. And that is the truth.
Yeah, who you telling?
Yeah, exactly.
At what point would you decide that it's time to build out that team more?
I would love to build out that team. I just haven't had the right connections yet.
Yeah.
So when the right person, comes knocking on my door, I will happily take some help. I will give that 10, 20% to the right person that really is invested in my career.
Well, as I'm sure you are aware, being a woman in country music comes with some challenges.
Absolutely.
How surprised were you about that imbalance in airplay and playlists and representation when you got to town?
Not even a little bit. I've been in the music industry since I was 5 years old. It's always been, and I've always had a very strong personality. I'm not the kind of person that's going to bend just because, oh, you should do this for publicity or for exposure. No, I demand the things that I want, and where a man that would be assertive for a woman, I'm a bitch. But I am...
Again, who you telling?
In the words of Jersey Shore, I'm the nicest bitch anyone's ever met. I am so nice to people, but I am going to stand up for what I need.
And I think every artist, male or female, has to deal with, especially when you're coming into the situation new, you have to deal with people trying to put you into some kind of box and forcing you to try to stay there. I think, though, with women, it might be a little bit more so, just because it's socially acceptable still in 2026 to make comments about your body or make assumptions because you're tattooed. Like, most straight white men who have tattoos on half their body get no feedback on that whatsoever. I imagine that's been a different situation for you.
It absolutely is, but I make fun of it. It's like, it's all creepy old men who love to comment on my tattoos and say, like, oh, you would be so beautiful if you didn't ruin your body with all that stuff. It's like, well, I'm not doing it for you. Right? I'm the one. You don't have to look at me. Mm-hmm. You could turn on my music and not look at me. That's the great thing about music. But they feel like they need to say something. It's like, oh, thank you for telling me. Now I'm going to go get them all removed.
Right.
But it did put me in a little bit of a box where people are a little bit confused when I play traditional country music. And they're like, wait, you should play rock. And I did have a little bit of my identity crisis back in 2021, 2022. And I did put out a rock EP. And I had an investor at the time and kind of listening to that. And I won't blame it all on him because he did say, like, you could do whatever you want. But he was definitely like, let's do a cool rock thing. And I got with some amazing producers and I did write all the songs and I still love them. But at the end of the day, it wasn't me. And so I went back to putting out the traditional country that I've always put out.
It's cool that you can play around with that, though.
Yeah, playing covers for so many years, I could play anything. Mm-hmm. I could be a jazz singer if I wanted to. But my heart is in storytelling, and there's no storytelling like country music.
That's true. I feel like also the boxes that they try to put music and artists into are getting bigger and bigger and bigger with every generation. The lines get kind of blurred between the genres because you have more styles of music to be influenced by.
yeah, I think millennials with LimeWire and making playlists and burned CDs and stuff kind of made that a thing where we grew up listening to everything from hip hop to rock to country to pop and everything in between. And then we were raised on our parents, like classic rock and Billy Joel and all that stuff. So you definitely hear that intertwined in all of the music. And I feel like I think it's getting a little bit more genre specific where like even with the Grammys this year, they did contemporary country, and then I forgot what the two country, but they have two country genres now because of you'll have like the Tyler Childers and then you'll also have Jelly Roll, and those are clearly two very, very different artists, so it's now getting back to country because I feel like for the last 10 years, anything that doesn't fit on rock or pop, they just say country.
Yeah. That's also a thing I noticed throughout my radio career was that a lot of times artists who did what would be considered classic rock now, it's sort of like the genre there where they go to die, Well,
it's like I say it all the time, but like Tom Petty would be considered country now. Mm-hmm. And that's absurd.
Yeah.
That's rock music. Or Nickelback would be considered country now, which like, no, it's not. But I'm not in control of the genre, so I'm just happy that people listen to my music, no matter what they call it. They can call it whatever they want it.
Yeah, and I've always said this: like nobody is listening to pop music and going, "That doesn't sound like the Beatles."
Exactly.
So I don't know. I feel like the various sounds that make up country music. If anybody ever says to me, and it happens a lot, if anybody says to me, "I don't like country music," I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Luckily, it's happening less and less. Yeah. When I was in California, that was one of the things that made me want to move so bad is people would be like, I just don't like country. It's like, that's not true. You just haven't found the bands that you like yet because country is such a wide umbrella.
So many things.
Yeah.
I think I've talked about her before. I have a cousin who said that to me. She said, I don't really like country music. And then she's like, oh, but I like Faith Hill, and I like Shania Twain, and she's naming all these nights. She's like, I like 90s country. And I was like, then you like country music.
Because that's like real country.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, real in the modern sense.
Yeah. But then she'll be at a party and somebody's, they've got country music on, and she'll send me a little video clip, and it'll be a Megan Maroney song in the background. And she's like, I like this one.
Yeah.
Then you like country.
And it sounds like she likes female country from all the bands that you listen to. So maybe she just needs to listen. That's like when people say, and I get this comment on, especially my Facebook all the time from boomers and whatever, saying, I don't like girl voices, but I like your voice. I'm like, so you like girl voices?
Exactly.
I'm a girl and you like my voice. So you just don't like every girl voice.
But I also think that that's part of what got us to this challenging place where women can't get played on the radio, because there are people who have this thing in their head saying, I don't like girl voices. It's not true.
Yes, they put everyone into a box, and we're not all the same. People are not the same. It's not just men or women or whatever. People are all different.
Yeah.
So find what you like.
Yeah.
And stick to it if that's what you want. Or maybe it'll branch you onto, I do think like the great thing about bro country and all the blurring of the lines is it brought in an audience that would traditionally say like, I hate country. Mm-hmm. And now they've broadened their horizons.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Nelly played on something, and then now they, so it's been an interesting progression just in the time that I've been in the country music scene, and I honestly love it.
Mm-hmm. And listen, Taylor Swift just put out a new country song. So hi, Taylor Swift fans.
Yeah, they're back.
Welcome back. We love it. I read about how after COVID, you had asked a bar to pay you what you had been paid before. And instead of doing that, they fired you.
Yes.
What was the lesson that you got from that? And hopefully it was not to stop advocating for yourself.
No, it absolutely was the opposite of that, because then I got offered gigs getting paid that and then some at other bars. So it was, instead of begging for a seat at the table, go find another table.
Build your own table.
Yes. And I was able to do that. It was like, yeah, there was 6 months in there that were real rough. But I figured it out. Mm-hmm. And it just made me advocate for myself every time. And if people say like, or people being venues say like, oh, I can't afford those prices, I'm not coming down on my price. Come back to me when you can.
Mm-hmm. Amen. How do you push past those moments where you've got people trying to pigeonhole you, people trying to underpay you, people trying to just make it difficult for you to do the thing that you want to do. How do you push through that and get it done?
Every situation is a lesson, honestly. I don't know until I get to that situation, and then I figure out how to deal with it. And if the risk is worth the reward, and usually the risk is worth the reward.
What kind of support have you found from other women in the industry?
The support from women has been absolutely incredible. I'm so glad that there are more women in higher places in the industry, that women are working together. Some of my favorite songwriters that I write with are women, and I've found such an incredible support system in Nashville. People always love to joke about like the dating scene is horrible in Nashville, which it absolutely is.
For sure.
But the friend scene in Nashville is phenomenal. I have found such lifelong female friends in Nashville, and it has been just the most beautiful thing.
Who are you listening to, especially with respect to women?
I'm going to be very, very honest. These days, I don't listen to much music. I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Fair. Does listening to music feel like work? It
feels like noise. I'm just around so much music now that my ears are tired and I'm overstimulated. But
I understand. It's a real thing. It's happened to me as well.
Such a thing. But I still love some of the women that were so big in creating the Americana genre, like Nico Case and Gillian Welsh, and a lot of those, what we would say is like pure country, but it was Americana, and they were some of the foremothers of Americana, and I just love that style of female country. And now Sierra Farrell is bringing it back hardcore, and I love her for that.
Willow Avalon is one of
Willow is freaking great.
Yeah.
And Caitlin Butts.
Yes. And there's the two of them together. That song, that hypothetically speaking.
Yes.
I love it so much.
There's so many amazing women rising right now that like I do try to support all of those,
Well, I saw that your Instagram bio says that Spotify calls you Breakup Western Country.
Yes.
But I also saw where you referred to your sound as Sad Girl Country.
I think it's the same.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's just, I just tell real stories, and real stories tend to be sad sometimes. I also tell the drinking fun side of life, and my message is always be happy even when you're sad.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
You just put out your most recent EP a couple of months ago,
yes.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Did you name it that because it took you 2 weeks to write and produce?
Yes. Not to produce. That was about 3 months, honestly. That was a longer process than I had planned. But I wrote the whole thing in a 2-week span, and I had planned on putting some of these songs on a record. And then I was like, you know what? I haven't put out a project in a really long time. Like maybe I'll just do like an intermediary project that is just songs that I wrote, because there's so many songs that I've co-written, and it just ended up being a pretty nice, tight little project that fit together. And I've already recorded 6 new songs, and 2 of those are also solo writes, and then the other 4 are co-writes that I am so excited about.
Does that mean we have like a whole album coming?
Maybe we have a whole album coming. We have more singles coming the rest of the year. June got away from me a little bit, but the rest of the year I'll have a single every month for the rest of the year.
Okay. So we'll look forward to putting those on the Girl Crush Country Spotify and Pandora playlists.
Yay, thank you. Y'all, if you're out there, putting our songs on playlists is the most helpful thing that you can possibly do. So please, please, please do that.
And follow our playlist as well, so that more people can be exposed to the music.
Exactly.
What was going on in your life at the time that inspired you to write all the songs in 2 weeks for that EP?
Well, as the breakup Western country genre will tell you, I was going through a breakup at the time. And in the last 6 years, I've broken up. Well, I didn't break up with him. He broke up with me 2.5 times. And so I've gotten
the same guy?
The same guy.
Oh.
So I've gotten a lot of inspiration from that man.
Yeah.
I wrote my first love song ever about him, and a lot of breakup songs about him. So that 2 weeks was, he'd broken up with me in May. I spent June kind of just like getting over it. And I went on a pretty life-changing trip to Norway. I headlined my first festival ever in all time in Norway. And I came back from that trip finally feeling like myself again. And the songs just started pouring out.
Okay. Now, we're not going back to him again, right?
We are not. Third time's a charm, baby. Third time is a charm. Yeah.
I feel like, now, I don't know him. I don't really know you, but I feel like he's maybe shown us who he is.
He has.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been 3 months, and that's the longest that we've been broken up ever, and I'm sticking to it this time.
Okay, good. You know what? I hate that you went through it, but if there's one thing that a breakup is good for,
Art.
it is art and music.
It is art. It is stories. And the last time he left me in Texas, and nothing says a country song like being left in Texas.
That's absolutely true. Does he choose in Texas? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No.
Ella Langley pun.
He chose Tennessee. He literally, in the middle of the night, drove to the airport, got on a plane, and left me in Texas.
What? A coward.
Yes, absolutely. After 6 years.
Oh.
And after booking a trip to France that morning.
Do you want to give me his number? I just want to talk.
Yeah, right?
So.
Yeah.
I just want to have a conversation with him.
He wanted to talk after that. I was like, no, thank you.
No, I don't think there's anything you can say, sir.
Yes.
That's done.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song from that project?
South is my favorite song off that project. South or Mercy would be, but Mercy was more hopeful. South is more defining an end. And so it was perfect as the end of that project because it's the end of that era. So
last month you put out 17, which is a total turn onto a different road.
I had written that 3 years ago.
Really?
So that's why that was it. And he actually paid for that song to be recorded because he loved that song so much.
Does that make it complicated for you when it comes time to sing it?
I haven't sang it yet, so I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
I wrote that song with Christy Huff, and she was planning her wedding at the time. I was the maid of honor in my sister's wedding, and both her and I have very close relationships with our mothers. Her mom is no longer with us, which is so it's such a sad part of that song. But we both wanted a mother-daughter moment for weddings, and that song just kind of fell out.
It's really good.
Thank you.
And it is on the Girl Crush Country playlist. Yeah. Sheyna G, it has been so great getting to know you. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Come check out some of Sheyna's music on the Girl Crush Country playlist. We're on Spotify and Pandora. You can follow both of those playlists. Do it.
Do it now. Yeah. Go on there.
And if you love what we're doing here, elevating the voices of women in country music, join the mission. Subscribe to the newsletter at girlcrushcountry.com. Follow us on the socials and hit that subscribe button here on YouTube as well.